Today is a special day for us here at the Art Institute of Philadelphia. Of course, those people who don't know, today is Thursday, November 2nd of the year 2017. And every now and then we're blessed to have graduates who are interested in the well-being of current students in our programs. We have 2 stars that came back today to take the day out to give you some information on what it's like looking for work and finding work in the digital filmmaking, video production, cable television, movie industry, right? These are 2 of our graduates from the DFVP program. I'd like to introduce them in no order of importance. I'm not even sure of their alphabetical order, but we've got Mr. Sherrod West, Mr. Jason Nardis. Both are of equal importance regarding their introduction, so they'll take time out today to introduce themselves and their history. I do have some background, some brief background, and I'll go through that brief background now. So we're going to be doing not necessarily Q&A necessarily, but I think we're going to agree that we're going to encourage you to ask questions as we go. And at the very end, I've been told by our esteemed alumni, they want to definitively open up the end of the time, the end of the presentation, as a Q&A. So if you have questions during this seminar, lecture, called guest lecture, please ask them as they go. Okay? There are some things they want to hit on, like definitively, so they may just want to barrel through some topics. And then at the very end, we'll do the Q&A. But don't hold back, okay? Please don't hold back. It's a wonderful opportunity to see 2 people come back. They could have decided not to come back. They didn't have to honor me or honor the school or honor you, but they've chosen to do so. So this is like the best of the best. You can't get any better than having 2 alumni who are successful. They're going to come back and tell you how they did it. So let me just give you kind of a brief. Here we go, my phone, right? There we go. So we've got some issues happening here. You want to put it on a wide angle?
Yeah.
Put it on its side?
I don't think they can view it like that. It's only
like this?
Yeah, it's
you
can, but
you guys live streaming?
Yeah,
on Instagram.
It doesn't work live.
Here at questions too. It'll work. Talking to the students.
Mm-hmm. There we go. So this is in no apparent order. I'm going to ask these guys if they want to stand up and kind of prance around. They're welcome to do it. If they want to sit down, I'd ask you to be kind enough to come forward, so you're close so they can see your face, right? So they can't really see through these monitors. And we want to move, want to be careful with these monitors so they can see you guys. If you have cups and drink or something, please put it on the ground. Briefly, we've got the 2 young men you see in front of you work for already Philadelphia-based unions in the movie and television stage handling industry. Other states around the area, the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, their stage hands, unions, and their unions for television, filmmaking, and video. We've got people that have done movies, television, sports, even in some cases produced highlight reels for some of the sports teams you know and love right here in the city. As described, there's some short films. Both of these young men have worked on some larger filmmaking programs that both of them have worked on. Some programming they're working on today. This is basically their day off. So this is considered a no-pay day for them, right? Because as a freelancer, subcontractor, they have to take a day off to come and talk to you, which means they're spending money to be here. So please honor them in what they're doing. Some of the films projects they've worked on have also already gone to Cannes. If you understand the idea of going to film competitions, let alone making history in the city of Philadelphia, working, or in the state of Pennsylvania, working for other television agencies. It turns out that these guys were friendly in school. It turns out that they were from the same state and city and area, but they didn't know each other until they basically finished their program here at the Art Institute, and they became lifelong friends and kind of business alliances and business partners. They have not formed an official partnership yet, but they certainly work very closely together. They are a referral-based organization in that when one gets a job, they may look to the other one to help, and that's one of the best things about their relationship. They've worked on politics. They've worked for large corporations such as Johnson & Johnson and JCPenney for filmmaking and video work. They've worked as videographers, filmmakers, audio engineers, and photographers. There's more than a couple of different instances where they found large organizations that they helped create branding for. on their own, like, gee, you don't have the right branding, let me help you with that. And that's evolved into huge lifelong income opportunities with other organizations that have gone national and now international. So, when we help the little guys, sometimes it helps out. I think one of the most important elements I received from my quick conversation with them has to do with how much, when you're a good person and people like you, how they'll help you in other areas of your life. So I think one thing they learned as a graduate is being nice to other people sometimes is more important to have a skill set, because when you like somebody, you have them and you can train them on anything. So with no further ado, I will let these young men start the seminar on their own, and I appreciate your attendance. Now there will be a few people walking in behind you guys, coming into the room and sitting down. It's the middle button. On the remote control, it says AV mute. There you go. And you guys can take over, and I'll just man the camera a little bit every now and then. Okay? Thank you once again, gentlemen, for blessing us today at the Art Institute of Philadelphia.
And thank you for having us. This is amazing. This is great. Glad we can come back and, inspire and show. Everything's, honestly, everything's really, really, really fun, but also hard work, as you guys already know. But it's one of them satisfaction type of feelings when you do the work, and then like even when Craig was just talking about it, it's like I didn't realize we did that much until right now. I'm like, oh wow, I'm telling Jason, I'm getting overwhelmed, this is crazy, and we have done a lot I feel like in a little bit amount of time, but that's our go-getter spirit, and just wanting to be successful, even when we fail, Now, so I'm pretty much going to this. This is the company that I ended up teaming up with. This wise guy. I met up with this guy. His name is Teron Hyatt. He's from Atlanta. He moved out here to Cherry Hill to chase his dream. And someone suggested him to me. I said, hey, I know this really dope videographer. He's in the television and in the movie industry. You should definitely link up with him and see if you guys can do some work together. So he came to me and stressed to me that he had no video production or anything. So I said, hey man, I create content, just for fun sometimes. So I can bring that to you. And he already had a crowd of about 20,000 people that looked at him every day. So he's like, all right, well, look. I don't really have any money because I'm broke and we're struggling artists, but what I could provide for you is a crowd to put your stuff on a platform. I'm like, all right, well, what I could do for you is give you just free edits all the time, So he's like, all right. So we built our relationship off of that, and it ended up blossoming into something beautiful. And now we're doing business with Radio One, and we got sponsors like Deep Eddy Vodka and Pabst Blue Ribbon, and we're going on tour. And it's all us just doing our stuff, and going out, believing in ourselves, funding our own selves. We're still broke to this day, but we make it happen though, because the whole thing of business really is not to come out your pocket, you know what I mean? And that's what we're learning now, leaning on other people that have things, and then connecting, doing business with them, and then going from there. And
so how'd you lead up to this current opportunity?
What this opportunity?
And what kind of
Well, we actually created this opportunity. As you see right here, this website did not even look like this at all. All we had on this website when I first met Teron was the homepage, the lookbook, gallery, blog, and contact. The events wasn't up there. The Shotwise guy wasn't up there. TV, radio. I created the radio for him. I created the TV, and then I also helped him out with the lookbook and the gallery stuff. As far as aesthetics, what it should look like, paying attention to detail and things like that. Now, like I said, this created a lot of opportunities, just not within the company, but also for me to work with other companies too, just outside of Wise Guy. So me working with NBC, I actually went up to SNL, sat in on some shows with them, saw how they do, sat on some NBC shows, see how they do. I'm not even gonna lie, the television industry at the top is so different from what anybody could tell you. You literally have to experience it for yourself, because the energy, I'm all about energy, and energy is really big in the industry, even if people are aware of it or not. People talk about it all the time, and the energy up there is something that I will never forget. It's overwhelming. It's embodied with success, like top of your game, like no nonsense, like everything that you can feel in discipline is like in this building, you know what I mean? And feeling that, you know, for me, I saw it wasn't really for me, even though it's a dream to be there, you know, because not a lot of people get to experience that. But just being able to see that and being able to be like, you know what, I don't know if this is for me, you know what I mean?
Maybe not now, right?
Yeah, at least right now, yeah. So that's when I started going into looking into movies and stuff like that. And I felt like that's where I found my home when I went into the movies and start, you know, going on little sets for free. You know, I call them passion projects, you know, just doing the stuff, helping out, you know, spreading good energy. People read that all the time. And I know I can give that to, you know, pretty much anything that I do. So that created tremendous opportunities for me. I even had somebody come up to me, I was telling Craig at lunch today, telling me about my energy and how great my energy is and how far that's going to take me, more than money can, more than, you know, connections can. It's just going to, you know, shoot me. So after he said that, I was like, okay, like I need to really hone in on the energy, because I already got the skill set. I already know how to do the work and stuff like that. So let me focus on like embodying me being a good person, which I already am, and then mixing my work into that, and doing that creates something beautiful for just everybody on set, because now they want to come to you. I have people come to me asking me questions, and I don't even know the questions. They just come to me because I'm easy to talk to and good energy, you know? So it's like, you know, it kind of draws a lot, you know, when that happens. People see that, and then they're like, oh, wow, you're like a personable person, and, you know, you can do this, you can do that. So I don't want to talk too much, but that's kind of my introduction into, you know, me getting into the industry, me fighting for what was mine, you know what I mean, as far as how hard I'm working. You know, like I was saying to you guys earlier, you know, Goodman, you know what I mean, he kept telling me, no, no, no. And I'm like, what do you mean no? I see it now and I understand it even more. You know, I'm just like, okay, if he didn't say no to me, I would have came out here into the industry thinking I was ready. And I mean, I would have learned, but it would have been a lot harder for me to learn, you know, and he created that kind of comfort for me to move around about the cabin, you know, so I can do my stuff. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm gonna pass it over to J Nard, aka J Nard.
You know, like what he was just saying is like, you know, you do come out of your ready, but ready to learn even more and get a lot more experience with like different job opportunities and dealing with clients and whatnot. I just want to back up a second and like mention how like our connection. So we met out here in the dorms in AI here, and we found out that we're both from the same area in Harrisburg. And really since then we became like really good friends in and out of school, and also work on multiple projects freelance wise, like in different areas. So we kind of cross-pollinate work to each other, try to bring like each other and other individuals into play whenever we can. Like my brother's in the film, he has like multiple other friends, and we try to like bring a group together whenever those opportunities arise, which is really good, because like when you look out for other people, like that energy and same opportunity, those opportunities can come back around to benefit you. So we've also worked for multiple companies by recommending each other, like Pennsylvania Cable Network and WITF, they're both television stations in Harrisburg.
We work with the Pennsylvania Lottery, and PCN is more the political.
Politicians, state representatives are on there all the time. So we have like, we got more TV studio experience outside of this school in those settings. So even every company you will experience does something differently, even if they have the same type of setup. Like, you know, there's different terms, there's different
you gotta
equipment.
adapt. You gotta adapt, because what happens is, and I kind of went in there with a little attitude after like you work with somebody, and like especially if it's a high-end company, then you go into another company and you're trying to apply those things, which is right, but you got to learn that they might do, like Jason said, they might do something differently, and you got to adapt to what they do, you know. And I remember the first time I experienced that, I'm like, you know, it's kind of like a give and take, because it was like, all right, well, this is what I was learning, and this is how, you know, I'm supposed to do this. And they're like, no, scratch that. This is how you do this. And it's like, whoa. So just like being in that and seeing like, oh, I gotta be adaptable, or, you know what I mean, this could possibly hurt me or cause some confliction within the company, because it's gonna be seen as I don't wanna do it, you know, in the sense that it's not, but it's like, I gotta be adaptable.
Yeah, be prepared to adapt to other employer or clients' preferences. Like every little thing. Like I worked on a feature film set last year, and I was a grip, and I literally saw a different side of like the lighting and how professional lighting is done. And you know, I came out of that experience of like learning new ways to like set up lights or wrap stuff. And I went into like a full-time job experience where I brought that film, you know, the feature film set style in there, and it was kind of conflicting because they were doing things a different way. So like, I had to adapt to that, but also try to keep in mind that there's no like right or wrong answer for a lot of things. There's a lot of gray within, you know, really like art, which is like video really is, you know, any type of creation, it's really art. And like, you know, if it's your own freelance project, then you can kind of like, you know, go your way with it as long as the client is like with that. But a lot of companies, they have like strict policies and you know, ways of going about business, which is all good to experience and take in. And I think the fact that both of us have worked for multiple companies and individuals since graduating here is like, it's more valuable than just getting a full-time job, in my opinion, as soon as I got out and sticking with that. You know, because I was aiming to get a video editing job in New York City. Like that was my goal.
I remember.
No matter what. Like even after I graduated, like I still lived here for another year in Philly. And I mean, if I would have gotten that job and I say I could still be there, like I would have missed out on all the opportunities and things I've done since then, which is, you know, doing a lot more freelance and learning, experiencing the wins and losses of dealing with clients and also, you know, other companies. We both have, so we've done several like part-time jobs together for companies, and a lot of contracting work. So like that's something I'm really big on, because I think like even if I knew that as well coming out of the school, I would have hopped on it right away. Because contracting is kind of cool because it's not very consistent. You can kind of maneuver other jobs around that, and you can balance, like you get a little bit of money coming in if you get contracting jobs and then also some part-times.
Could you define, as an example, if you don't mind, Jay, what a contracting job may look like? Like, how would it have appeared to you? How would you have negotiated to secure it? And then how long maybe would a simple, like, we're talking about like, somebody says you have got a 2-day shoot coming up and a 3-day edit. Is that what you mean? Like you do the 2-day shooting, but you don't do the editing, or do the editing, you don't do shooting? What does it mean to do a contracting job?
It can be all of that, actually, I would say.
Well, give us a scenario without mentioning people's names or companies. Give us a similar scenario that you've worked on that was a contracting job.
Well, we both work for a photography company where, you know, as the gigs come into the company, they offer them out to their employees, and whoever's available, or first come, first served basis, then you get back to them and let them know. Sometimes you could have 3 to 4 gigs per week, sometimes you could have 0. So like, it really fluctuates. Even though that can sound bad because there's 0, it's kind of good to do that at least, because if you're coming out of the school here and like, you know, it's good to, if you want to find a full-time, which I do recommend still, like it's good to have something to fall back on right away, so where you can, and plus those type of jobs give you a lot of experience.
Yeah.
So I mean, so like there's been photography companies that we've contracted for, and also stagehand work, which is really like setting up corporate events or like film sets, or like live events for like bands and performances. It can really vary though.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, when I'm noticing as I'm going through this whole thing, like my main focus was to try to get a job with like a television network or a movie network. You know, that was the biggest thing. And my friend turned me on to like being part of unions and like the benefits of that. So I started looking into the union stuff, and ended up getting into some television union stuff and some stagehand union stuff, and still working on the film union. But what the unions pretty much create is those jobs that you were looking for those contracted jobs. It's like boatload of them, so they just send them out to you. Like, here you go, this day. Then you let them know if you can work them out. You know what I mean? You kind of set up your own schedule off of that, you know, and they tell you in detail what you're going to be doing for that job. You know what I mean? So that's another form of contracting. Another one that I heard the video say, like editing and video, sometimes you might just have editing. You know, someone just wants you to chop something up for them, and then, you know, you either give them your rate or they have a budget, you know. So, and that in itself is its own thing about the money, because sometimes you're looking for something with a budget, because the budget, if it's big enough, is going to sustain you for a little bit, you know. Or you might need something quick to pay a bill or something, so you get that gig that's $200, you know. You might get 3 of those in that week, like Jason was saying, or you might get 1, you know. So you kind of like make your own schedule. That's what we're doing now. That's how we can even make it here today, so we create our own schedules, you know, with the jobs that we have. So we can take our days off when we want to, but not really, because we got to pay our stuff, you know what I mean? But
yeah, and I want to make clear that, like, if you have a specific goal or like type of job that you want to do when you get out of here, definitely go for that. But also keep in mind and stay open-minded, and to allow yourself to like gather experience doing other things, which can inevitably help you reach what you're originally trying to do. Like, I didn't really plan on working for photography companies. I have had 3.
That's what we started out with,
and
too.
really, you do learn film-based experience within that. Like, you learn how to set up different lights in a different way, light meters, and you know, you also like there's different, like, you know, once you get into like the rhythm,
it all
like,
makes sense.
Kind of like how we're saying how companies set up, how they load out and whatnot, how they deal with clients. Like that experience is like, it's really valuable in my opinion.
And I was gonna say too, just from lighting with the photography, that ended up like blossoming to me being grips on sets now. You know what I mean? And I never would have thought, you know, setting up, you know, for photography lights for kids was going to be, you know, help me for my film. At that time, I was like, I'm trying to make movies right now, and it's like that Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. You know, it's like,
that's right. You
gotta just, you know, focus on your assignment right now, you know, and then everything will come, you know. And I wanted to say this: everybody here should watch Bruce Lee, because everything that he's saying in his films and stuff is so true about life, you know, being adaptable like water, and all that stuff that he's saying is like, it's life, you know, because those things you have to do to like kind of survive, not just in the industry, but life in general. Another thing I was going to say too, I call it the test moments. When you're in the industry, you're going to have these moments where like everything you should have learned or you learn is going to come to the forefront, and you're going to have to show that you know what you're doing, because you're going to be put in a position that you've like been somewhere so long or whatever, and now it's like, all right, this is what it is. Like, let's see if you can perform. And a great example I was telling in the video, we were doing a gig 3 weeks ago for DirecTV. We had the Boston Celtics bring their equipment down, so it was a big production, and we had no technical director. Now, I have done some technical directing. I did master control at PCN. I messed up tons of times, you know, enough for me to be like, I'm not doing technical directing again, you know. But just, you know, I've seen it, and I did some other stuff too. But they needed a technical director, and they were like, does anybody know how to technical direct? And I didn't say yes at first, and I heard no one say anything, and something inside me said, okay, step up to the forefront, you know. So I was like, I know how to technical direct a little bit. And they're like, all right, cool, this is the lesson. So they gave me the lesson in 10 minutes. I never seen this system, I don't know how it operates, nothing. Gives it to me. Jason's actually behind me looking at me like, are you getting any of this?
I don't think he was.
Yeah, and I was, but I wasn't, because it was coming so fast at me. I had to like tell myself to calm down, because I was getting excited. I was getting overwhelmed. I'm like, oh no, what did I just ask for? Like, and then I'm like, oh, this is the test. Like, oh no. So, you know, after he left me and I was left alone, you know, I actually like started remembering everything I did in master control that I was messing up on, and like seeing buttons as I saw it then, and then kind of connecting stuff. And then before I knew it, I knew how to use the program within 20 minutes of after he showed me the 10 minutes. You know, I'm over here clicking and stuff, and now we're going live on DirecTV, and I'm switching, like, you know what I mean? And it was just crazy. It was crazy, but at the end of it all, I was like, I did it. Like, you know, I saw what I was made of, you know what I mean? Then got me out that comfort zone. It showed me that, like, I can go hard in an uncomfortable state.
Yeah, like you grew from that uncomfortable position.
Right, and I knew when I said I knew how to technical direct that was it. It was either you're gonna fail and learn, or you're going to be good and thrive. You know, so either way, it was a win-win. Even though there was a lose in there, you know, it was like I'm going to learn again. You know, so it was just good to see everything that I embodied from my past come up, and everybody looking at me. And the guy even came over to me and said, "Great job, like good job, like you did a good job." I'm just like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like, okay, yeah, I was kind of dancing inside, like, you know. But yeah, it was like, you know, those moments though are like the high moments in the industry that get you to like, oh, I gotta do more, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I just wanted to share that experience.
And I think when you're positioned in those uncomfortable positions and you know, areas where you have a lot of weaknesses, that's when you should go with the hardest, is to try to excel within those. Because like I'm sure you gained a lot of confidence just based off of that. Now you like that really does a lot more.
Yeah,
than, like,
my vision is totally different now. Like I just see stuff like differently since I took that jump. I took that leap. You know, and I'm like, whoa, like, you know what? I need to take more leaps. You know, but also be diligent in my thinking. You know, not just leaping, because we already know what that looks like when you just leap. You know what I mean? It gets all crazy and all this extra stuff. So it's like, all right, like let me leap. You know, and the sense of like my knowledge. You know, and how I'm going about situations and how I'm communicating and things like that.
Question for you guys: if you at the stage for most of these guys, if you were in that last quarter before graduation, what would you guys have done differently, if anything? Thinking about that first year after you graduated, you know, one quarter away, you know, and then you're embarking on a new career.
I would have focused on creating one video outside of like class to be like a video that can get passed within like the 5 criteria that you're going to need to have passed, like within the lighting, cinematography, directing, motion graphics, and
Storytelling.
So
you ain't never going to forget that.
Find that weakness right now. I think mine was lighting, and I did relight something. I think it wasn't until like the next class, but right now with whatever break you have at the end of this quarter, just make something simple. Don't overdo it. You know, just whether it's, you know, if you're lighting something, you know, like I was saying earlier, like try not to. Glass obviously reflects. It's harder to light. It's good to like challenge yourself, but like if you just need to have something better than like good, then definitely go for it. Because I had a lot of stuff I took into that class that I liked the videos because I thought they were cool, you know. But really, they're looking for just straight. You know, we just straight want to see lighting in this. Like, you know, you could just film something and set up on a tripod. Like if you have, like it's. Taking that time and effort right now to prepare for that will like definitely be better. It's better to have like more options to show. And anything else I could have done differently? You know, possibly start looking for all types of opportunities for when you graduate, depending, you know, what you want to do as soon as you get out. You know, whether that's finding a part-time job just to have something to fall back on. Like I was saying about the contracting work, that can like, I really like that as well. But like anything like that is good, in my opinion. Yep.
I have a very specific question. So it's not a good thing or a bad thing about what I'm about to ask, but it is a thing. So some of our students, maybe even including both of you, nice young men, when you were in the program, had a dream. I'm here at school because I want to become, and you put the noun afterwards, right? I want to become this thing, right? I want to be a director. I'm going to be a producer, something like that, or a camera operator, right? And then maybe as you exit school, you find out that there is a chain of command that occurs in the industry, right? There's always going to be a guy or gal who owns the business, and somebody who's the boss, and somebody who ends up being the manager of the project, and somebody who's an assistant. Yeah. So could you talk of the idea of exiting school, and use the word open-minded 3 or 4 or 5 times, which is a which is an alternate way of saying don't turn away work opportunities, and also don't be so strict and stringent on who you're going to become, right? Because I think there's sometimes when students graduate our program and they don't like listening to the faculty. They think that we're somehow at war with them, you know? And could you talk of that, how maybe when you were here, you had a dream that you're still developing, and secondarily, were we right or wrong in our guidance? Give them some ideas of what happened here. And
First of all, I want to say that, what I think something we've realized more and more is that, like, the work will come when it's ready for you, not when you're ready for the work. Because I know that both of us were ready for certain work that we still haven't even gotten to, when we came out of school. That kind of also falls into like the job market and all that, So, and I don't think, just like talking about the dream factor, I'm not saying your dreams are going to be crushed at all. Like, our dreams are still alive, if not even more so.
We actually enhanced our dreams.
Yeah, and I honestly, at the end of the day, I just want to, I have specific things I'd like to do, but mainly I just want to thrive as an individual and, who makes creative videos or just like expresses, visual storytelling in a sense.
Yeah, because I was going to also say too, don't despise the small things. Like, that small thing, like, yeah, you might have something big going on and you might be working with Jay-Z, whoever, then you're working with, Bob down the street, bike shop, shooting some tires or something. Bob might have the plug too, you just don't know. And let's say you just like, I'm going with Jay-Z, obviously, because everybody know him and he gets money and I can get potential money too, and that all happens and stuff. And then let's say something, God forbid something happens with the Jay-Z situation and now you're going back to Bob. Bob don't want you no more because you left him. Now Bob is growing just like Jay-Z. And you're like, oh man, now you're in a pickle and you feel it, you kind of feel down because you're like, dang, like I should have stuck with Bob and I knew that, but I wanted to go for the dream, which is not a problem, but that was your jump. That was your leap of faith within yourself, taking that sacrifice. And now you saw the outcome, or it could be the other way around. You know what I mean? It's a gamble at the end of the day. But don't knock little people down. Like, just like I said with Wise Guy, he was the smallest speck in my crack of things that I wanted to do, not knowing that it was gonna be the biggest light of my whole thing now. You know what I mean? Now it's like an umbrella and looking down on everything else. So it's like, all right, definitely keep your eye, not just on your prize, but on other things too, because you'll learn, before you know it, you'll be a jack of all trades. And honestly, I think you want to be able to talk to everybody. It's good to talk different languages so you can communicate. There's nothing like you not knowing what you're talking about, or you can't communicate with somebody, then you're stuck. Then you got to go back to learning anyway. So why not learn it on the forefront, so when you go out, people are like, wow, like, you talk my language and we're getting work done. I respect that. Matter of fact, since you can do this, come on into here. I just started working with this production company, Boathouse Pictures, and my first gig with them was an audio engineer. I don't do audio. I'm not an audio guy, but I know how to get around it. I know how to talk the language, and I know what buttons to push and what ones not to push. So I didn't tell him that, but he trusted in me getting the job done, and I did it. Now he's like, oh, you're an audio engineer. He looks at me as an audio engineer now, not knowing that I got all this other stuff that I do too. And he's slowly finding out, like, oh, you know how to do video. Oh, you know how to hold the camera. Oh, you know how to edit. Like, oh, wow, you know how to do everything. And it's like, yeah. So just like taking your time and, don't rush it too, because you get like, I still have trouble, like trying to show everybody everything that I can do, because like, I had worked so hard on the things that I honed on, and like, all my things like editing, graphics, video, producing, all that. I want everybody to know that I know how to do all that, but sometimes you can't present that. You just can only present one thing or nothing at all. It's just conversation, So you got to kind of like read that too, because you do get excited, because you're excited about yourself, especially when you embody new knowledge and you want to go out and like show people you know what you're doing and stuff like that. Just having that pace, you got to have a pace, you got to know when to throw it in the 6th gear and then bring it back to 1, or throw it in reverse, you know what I mean? Like, you'll get all of that as you keep going, because that's stuff that they don't even talk about at school, they don't talk about energy and any of that, so just being able to see, you know, and feel all this and being able to tell you guys, you know, it's key. It's essential to the game. You know what I mean? It's like, I look at this school like Harry Potter, you know what I mean? It's like Hogwarts, there's a lot of magic going on. You're trying to figure out the spells and stuff, you know what I mean? And that's one of the spells that they don't really talk about, but if you win, you know about it, you know what I mean? You know the spell, you know what I mean? So, like, it's the same things applied, you know what I mean? It's honestly an energy-based field industry, and with you knowing what you know.
Question for you guys.
Well,
I'm sorry.
So to answer your question like directly, Craig, yes. I mean, like I was a little stubborn coming out of here, thinking I was a little stubborn coming out, you know, thinking, you know, I'd get a certain job. But that's kind of like why I was saying that, like, I don't disbelieve that like anyone in here right now could make like amazing content for like the hottest rapper right now. Like I remember being in school and like people were making great stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, amazing.
And it's really. I mean, some of my best work I think is still from when I was in college. So,
not mine.
Well, so basically, like I said, like allow things to come to you throughout time, because there's like a flood of like creatives, people in school and out of school who are trying to do the videography thing, and like they're all like, everyone has to be respecting their own way, because people who don't even go to college sometimes they can make good content, but it also adds to the competition of the whole industry. And so, as far as like not being prepared, like I do think, like I thought I was prepared, but it's also like, you know, just what, you know, is ready and what you're able to find. You know, there's different avenues of finding stuff now, especially with the internet. Like I somehow like, I found a lot of stuff through Craigslist when I first got out of college. Like one of my first freelance gigs was a music video in DC. I like put the ad out. I used to put ads out in like every zip code of different states for like weddings and music videos. I still occasionally do that, and like just trying to be like, he's trying to like trick the internet or find a way to maneuver through it. Like he got, we were just saying recently. Oh, he used to like, you know, he used to sneak into concerts when we were in college here. He used to film all so he had amazing footage of the best acts. You know, that really came from like.
I got Jay-Z twice.
Yeah, we went to we like filmed the mayor and Jay-Z announcing the Made in America tour. The first year was happening. You know, we left class just to film that, not getting paid, just to get that promotion.
Can I tap in?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So because you guys are all finishing school, okay, we can talk frankly and honestly. So what these guys are talking about, what Jay is talking about, is there was a discussion about going into concerts and getting footage and public events. And another instructor, which I'm proud to say, you know, I'm friendly with Mr. McGrath, having a conversation with one of these days young men, and just said something like, you know, the bigger the camera, the more threatening you are when you arrive on locations. And if you arrive with a big camera, you're usually not questioned. So these guys took advantage of the cage and would get out big cameras and would walk into these concerts.
Audio gear, everything.
I was actually
production.
I remember like
no press pass.
They didn't have a lanyard.
You have a lanyard.
This is like
This is a trick to the trade.
So like I remember getting
that's
the
that
equipment.
story.
I was riding my bike, rushing up Ben Franklin Parkway with a tripod. He's running behind me, like just trying to get there. But like basically, I'm only mentioning this because
Sweating.
that like doing that, like we weren't getting paid to do that. That like amplified everything. Like we showed people that like that was really cool, and like there were barely any people there. And he actually got in with the news crew. You were able to film up close. He had his own little surface with the tripod, but that basically fueled a lot of like motivation within both of us, especially you for that whole year of like people. Friends,
set me up for the whole year.
Would see him up on stage.
With energy, I was good.
People would be at a concert, they'd see him up on stage like, Sherrod's on stage filming right now.
You can still see it to this day. If you type in the first year Made in America, when Meek Mill and everybody's up there, you'll see me and actually Ron Downs, who's another student here, up on stage. I got him on stage with me, you know, and it was just crazy. Me and Jason doing stuff too. Like, I'll never forget the first year Made in America, before I even got on that stage, I was walking around the perimeter trying to sneak in, and everybody was saying no. Now, let me tell you something about this. Like, doing these concerts was mind over matter, because you're gonna get 1,000 people to say no, right? And you can give up. Of course, like, it's so easy to give up when someone says no to you, but I had this drive in me, and I was like, I'm gonna get my yes, even if it takes me all day. So I remember I was walking around the perimeter for about a good hour trying to get in. Everybody said no to me. And at this point, I was defeated. I was like, I'm about to go home. It's to the point that people were coming up to me, asking me, can they help me with my stuff? And I'm like, nah, I'm good. So I was about to pack it up, go on home, and I actually was walking towards the gate to go straight back here to the dorms. And I seen this crew, never forget it, it was about 5 of them, had the same exact camera as me. I went straight over there, walked with them, and I seen them walking in, and I walked right in with them. No one said nothing. And then that's how I was able to get everybody. But just having that ambition to get in, if I would have left early or gave up, I would have never saw my opportunity, you know? And I'll never forget, I seen this thing on Instagram. It's like this guy that's hitting rocks with this like mallet or whatever, just going through, trying to get to the goal. And it says never give up because you don't know how close you are. And you see him give up with like this much left. Like then there's a piece of paper. And if he would have just hit it one more time, he would have made it. But he gave up at that end, you know, and never knew. And they said he's like, oh, I probably had like 10 more feet, 1,000 more feet. Nah, he had 1 more inch. So I think about that in my head all the time when I have these opportunities, because I'm like, I could be right there, and if I give up right now, I don't want to be that one like thin piece of paper. All I had to do was just literally blow it, and it was right there. You know what I mean? So keep that in your mind too, because the opportunities, you know, you never know.
Yeah, and I also like mentioned the whole Jay-Z motivation thing, filming that is because like right now while you're in school, and maybe potentially like a little bit right after, depending on what it is, for example, like I love your term of like freelance ain't free, but if there's a potential opportunity that has like something has potential right when you get out of school, I'm not against the idea of making some type of like plan for somebody. Like maybe, hey, I'll make like, you know, 3 Instagram promos for like a music artist has tons of potential, because that could lead you places. Like, well, like the whole Jay-Z thing, that was like very like, you know, motivating, and we did that for free. And like one of my like last internships here was an internship, but it was also kind of like me doing free music videos like for several months, like for artists. You know, if I would have said no to that opportunity, I wouldn't have, you know, had worked with certain artists who went on to be pretty big. Like Yaz from Empire, he was like one of the artists I was making music videos for.
He put me on the Yaz, and we over here helping him out before
then some other people who were within this music group are like hosts on Snapchat right now, or like one of them was a member of the Roots. So like doing that free work not only like got some exposure for me and experience, but like also helped me find like one of my true loves of making videos, which is music videos. Because before doing any of that, like I just thought, oh, music videos, everyone's doing them, you know. But through doing that, like I realized that like there's so much more artistic value within it, and plus it's a growing industry. It's like they're literally like movies now, and the budgets are getting like crazy again. Yeah, like just, you know, find what you like to do. Obviously, I do want to like ask each of you individually like who you are and like what you're like going for. And what you like to do right now.
Before you do that, Jay, I want to throw a question at you guys because I got to get back to the shop.
Okay.
And Wes, you guys talk about energy, which is important. You guys both had unique energy, but your own style of connecting with people. But I'm talking about or asking about for these guys, how do you massage relationships with clients? Because that can sink or swim a video person or a creative artist. So how do you build relationships and keep them with clients?
I mean, I really just try to treat everybody like how I would want to be treated, honestly. Even though we're talking about business, I go about like, you know, it's easy for me to talk to people business-wise because I consider them just someone who's looking to succeed. And I go into the situation thinking we can both benefit each other. And, you know, I try to get their like needs, and I want to hear what they want, you know, depending on what it is. You know, I do a lot of weddings, so I really try to find out all the logistics to each and every wedding when I meet with brides and grooms. If it's something that's like more like a music video or, you know, creative piece, then, you know, I give appropriate time to like really sit down with them. You know, sometimes like I go overboard and like, you know, really meet with them more than I need to, or, you know, end up suggesting to have me even shoot more than what was originally planned, just to like really suit their needs.
Yeah, I was gonna say also too. Well, to piggyback on what Jason was saying, when you're like you gotta be open-minded first of all, because you don't even know who you're talking to. So it's good just let them talk so you can kind of feel their energy, you know, because you can really kind of see where someone's coming from off of their tone of their voice and the urgency of everything. You know what I mean? If you really pay attention, then after that, you know, you can kind of go and, you know, hit them like more if you need to talk to them more sternly, like, because some people are more stern, some people are just more laid back, so you kind of, you know, you just kind of fit their surrounding, you know what I mean? And then attack, you know, and start, you know, talking business and stuff. But one thing that I learned that I'm still struggling with is being like too nice when I'm in the moment, because like everything can be so good, and then like they're giving you what you want, and you're giving them what they want, and then you feel compelled to like do something extra, like, you know what, I'm gonna just throw something in there for free for you, like a little 30-second something, you know, and that's fine. But make sure like you're ready for that, because sometimes you might bind yourself and then you're doing extra work, like Jason was saying, and then you're like, man, I actually should be getting paid a little bit more money for this, for what I'm doing, and I'm kind of selling myself short because I was caught up in the moment, you know what I mean? So be careful with that, because that can hurt you even though you're being nice.
You know your worth, lay down the ground rules, but also be willing to negotiate, like even towards the end of the project, and try to figure out ways that, like, we're still growing and learning through like every project we do. But there are snakes in the grass. Not everybody's bad, but like not every situation with a client has to be bad if both parties enter it with the right mindset.
Right, and contracts too are important.
And
say it again.
Contracts.
Okay.
Have to.
I thought you said.
You know, the verbal. You know what I mean?
They speak volumes. They speak volumes. Despite the legal aspect of it, when you have a contract on paper, like sometimes I go into a meeting, I'm holding a folder, and I don't like to open it, but like occasionally if I open it, because if I'm grabbing something and they just see the contract,
they know you're being busy.
Yeah, like they think, okay, legally bound. That means this is a real thing. It's not just me saying, yeah, just make me a video and like, you know, blah blah blah. But also be aware of false promises, because they're everywhere, for sure. And I'm also like relating a lot to like the music video industry, which is like we do music videos and whatnot. But you know, that's like a really tricky one, because I'm saying like there's, you know, it's very open right now. There's different aspects to it, but it can come with everyone. Like
So if I may, can I ask a question? Do you have have you approached new projects with a predetermined outline of some form of a rate sheet where you'll say on paper for me, because you're running your own independent business, you are your own business, right?
Right, right.
So you're a sole proprietor running your own thing. I don't know if either one of you are an LLC yet or anything like that, but we'll deviate from that, just go back to agreeing that you're your own business. And when you approach a new client, whether it be a social event or a corporate job, and you present yourself as a vendor, and you say, you know, I can shoot this job and edit this job, but here's how I'm going to approach it on paper. So here's my paperwork. It has a rate that outlines either hourly for me and my gear, and this amount of gear and me, or me and my gear for a day rate or something. And then is that all in writing, prefacing your agreement and a handshake? Because the outline of paperwork with rates, in my opinion, really should be present during that meeting. So when a client says they want you to do a certain video that they've watched a demo of or an example of, then they go back to your rate sheet and say, well, that one would have cost, let's say, $2,900. Well, I only thought I was going to spend $350, right? So then you can work backwards. And then if they agree with you, not only is it a handshake, but you can write a contract up from that rate sheet. So do you feel like that's something, is a good idea to do with your current clients, future clients, or with students?
I would say big time. What I normally do is I send them a rate sheet and a contract, because you want to be detailed as possible, because as you can learn, and if you haven't already experienced it, is, you know, once you have something on that paper, then that's what is on that paper, so they're going to go with it. It's funny, I'm constantly changing my contract. Then that's when you guys negotiate, but we say, no, your highest price, and then go down, trickle down. I see that works for me a lot, you know what I mean? Because like, let's say I want to get $1,000 for a project, I'll start like maybe $2,000 or $1,500, so we can talk down, and then I might even get $1,100 out of it, and I'm getting the extra $100 out of what I originally wanted, you know what I mean? So it's really good. My mom taught me that, actually start high and then go low, you know what I mean? So doing that, and then also too, when you bind yourself, you want to know when you bind yourself, because you're going to get this feeling of, dang, I should have charged more. So like I said, really pay attention to that, and you know, you're going to get conflicted within yourself, but fight through it and really be honest with yourself. And like you said, know your worth. If you're about to produce something for them and you know you're about to bring, you know, camera A, B, C, and then audio guy or whatever, or it's just you and you're bringing a bunch of equipment, tell them how much that's worth so they know. Because you're going to get a question that's very common. How much is this going to be? That's what they say off the jump without even talking about what you want. So how much is it going to be? Well, I'm not even sure. I can't tell you that right now until we kind of discuss what you want done.
Yeah, so know your worth, but also keep in mind that taking risks can like get you to places or things that are, you know, will be very like worthwhile after achieving them. Like I feel like that's happened to me to an extent. That's something I'm still looking forward to doing. But like when you take those risks, or like, you know, I don't know, just sometimes you have a feeling, and then if you don't,
follow your intuition. That is key. Your intuition is key. It'll tell you some stuff. Some ancient, you know what I mean, like knowledge, summoning from your ancestors or something. I don't know, but it's on. It's on.
So if I may, have you guys encountered some vendors in the industry that look to you as a subcontractor and have told you, you know, that this will lead to great success and great prosperity, and you have the gut feeling that this isn't going to work out too well, or this isn't right, and you know, it smells weird and tastes weird, but I just would love to take advantage of this opportunity if it's real, and you got involved and you found out the person was the snake in the grass? I mean, can you give an example of that kind of scenario? That
I have something similar, but on the other way around. So I got an opportunity to work with the Philadelphia Eagles. So you say that, you want it. You like, what Eagles I'm working with? You know what I mean? Doug Peterson, and then the vice president there, and then working with the head production there, then working with all the players, like just getting to be around them, chop it up with them, like just all that's a dream. So I'm like, all right, that's no brainer. I'm gonna take the job. I took the job, and come to find out, it's the coolest job I ever had, but the worst job I ever had. Because now I'm only getting paid $8 an hour for a 7 to 8 hour day, and we got to work 7 days a week. There is no day off. Then they give us a day off once the season really starts going. But it's like I'm doing all this work and not getting my value, you know. But it's cool because I get to hang all around the players and eat with them, chop it up. They know me now, I know them, you know. So it's like the video was saying, like the job was a dream, you know. It was everything that I ever wanted, but it wasn't because it wasn't supporting me. You know, even though there was a lot of opportunities I was able to embody there, and that was my mindset. That's why I kept telling myself every day, the opportunities are greater than the money, you know. But also, this is not what I thought it was, you know. So now I'm bonded with this contract with the Eagles now because I have to do a whole season with them. I said I was going to do it, and I signed the contract. So I got to do the work now, you know. So like it was a great learning process, but I would never want to do it again on that level because I know my value and I know what I'm bringing to the table. You know what I mean? And that was just like something kind of like reverse. It wasn't like there was no snakes in the grass, but I kind of felt like I got bamboozled a little bit. You know, and then they told me, hey, you know, after you work here, you can work with anybody in the world because we're the top production in the whole NFL, and everybody knows about it, and we're the top of the head. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'm working with 300 gladiators. We out here, we're doing it. You know what I mean? High end productions, and then I get out and I don't see nothing. You know, and it's like, what's going on, guys? Like, I did all that work for y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all was gonna do all this stuff for me, and now I'm back to square one, but with a badge on my chest saying that I work for y'all. You know what I mean? You know,
if I may, there were students a long time ago that loved the whole New York MTV experience.
Yeah.
And they loved it. That's all they talked about when they were here at the building. They'd walk up and down the hallway, they'd be humming the song, and they'd want to watch television, want to watch those music stations, and that was a goal. I need to work there. I want to work there. And sometimes they do an internship there.
Yeah,
they go down there twice a week. Take 24 hours a week to get them back, right? And then I would ask them maybe years later, did that lead you to anything? Like, what did that translate into?
Yeah.
In simple English, what did that one experience And if you find out, they're like, well, nothing really. I have it on my resume.
Yeah,
but
right.
Nothing really.
Yeah, I experienced it.
I go, okay, well, if it was sheerly for the experience and we can just kind of wash our hands, that's cool.
Yeah.
But if you did think you're to hang your hook on that, hang your jacket on that hook, and it doesn't lead to other bigger opportunities, you have to know that kind of as you walk in. It's buyer beware, right? And as these guys are exiting school, I try to impress upon them personally that they need to be prepared for any job, any and all jobs. They have to be prepared with resumes and cover letters and business cards at all times. They have to go to all the networking meetings that are located in the Philadelphia region. They have to shake a lot of hands, knock on a lot of doors, get a lot of no's before you get a yes.
Responsive.
Right? So you guys talked about being hungry, right? You said it inside of the narrative, both of you, about being, having that sense of urgency. Can you give some advice on having a sense of urgency? Can you express to these guys how to push that button in their gut to make that chemical release, to have the sense of urgency? Like, what makes a person have that sense? Because I have a problem sometimes communicating that.
Yeah, it's I know for me, like, I'm gonna tell you how urgent I am. I travel for this year alone back and forth to Harrisburg. That's an hour and like 20-minute drive. Same thing with Jason. He just did it today. But you know what I mean? We don't let stuff stop us. You know what I mean? It's, if you want to get somewhere in life, like, you gotta eat, sleep, and work it, especially if you want it to come to light. What I'm learning too right now is when you keep knocking at something, someone's gonna eventually answer the door. You know what I mean? So you just keep knocking, you know what I mean? Even if you feel like you're defeated and no one's paying attention and you know your stuff is great and no one's giving you recognition for it and stuff, just keep knocking at that door, because it's all gonna come back full force, And that's what we're starting to experience now, of us being very urgent with our stuff, getting to stuff on time, you know what I mean? And then also getting there, make sure we're seen. Even like sometimes we might even take gigs that's not even getting paid, but we know how important are to show our faces there. You know what I mean? So people know of us, so we can set ourselves up for something else later. So sometimes you gotta go. I'll be like, honestly, any opportunity someone gives you, like I said, even if it's small or if it sounds whack, it's at a little bar somewhere or whatever, you'll never know who's there. That might be your ticket to that dream that you were looking for. Because that guy happened to get a drink at the bar that night.
Yeah, like I like that. It's funny that the MTV experience. I like interned there, and like you could look at me like since then and think, well, But first of all, since being there, like, it was cool. I liked it a lot. It was amazing. But it also shows me that I don't need to work there necessarily, and I don't necessarily want to 100%. So like that allowed me to see like that there's other things I can do like that. I would rather be the person who's like creating the content to go on like MTV or Vivo.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff there is like internal and whatnot. But regardless of that, that was a big thing I did when I was in college. But since then I've had tons of jobs. Sometimes I've been standing around. Like last year I was working as a sales associate at Dick's Sporting Goods. Like after like doing all this other stuff, and sometimes I'm standing there like, what am I doing here right now?
Yeah,
but like I still got experience through that job as well.
Yeah.
But despite that, like sometimes those experiences, like those hiatuses will come, where you have to step back or just do what feels right in order to get to progress from there. I mean, even though I was working at Dick's Sporting Goods with a bachelor's degree, still good things happened while I was there. LaShawn McCoy came and I talked to him. The backup running back for Penn State right now, he'll be starting next year. I connected with him, and a boxer who has his potential in Harrisburg right now to have success with boxing. So like I found good within working at a place like that, and I was patient.
So small.
And I was patient, and through like, the reason I left that job, or the way I left, is through going back to the energy standpoint, which is like connecting, meeting everyone, talking to people, whether it's an Uber driver about what you do, you maneuver into the conversation that you can, create content. Like you're not just a videographer, you're like literally an advertiser. You're helping them sell their brand or product or whatever it is by creating visuals. You can take a photo, you can offer them screenshots from the videos that you give them, and all that can lead you places. Like I met someone while I was still living here in Philly, and he called me up after 2 years of not seeing me when I was working at Dick's and said, hey, I got this feature film opportunity for you. We just fired a grip, so we, if you are available, come on. They had like Hollywood stars and everything, and like that was like my key into like the film industry there. That was like a really big event, and that never would have happened if I wouldn't have like just been open, social, and just talk about what I do and share like my experience, and also be curious about other people's experiences and what their interests are, because that really goes both ways.
Yeah.
And like, I was trying to remember like what you mentioned with that though. You're talking about like expectation-wise.
Well, I think I was just trying to complete the thought about you making sure that you show. So having that fire in your belly is something that many people don't necessarily have. They have the degree. I did want to actually branch off into a slightly different question for both of you, which is, you said about knocking on the door 100 times and finally getting the answer. Can we just have clarity on something, because I think it's important for everybody, that the person who answers the door thinks they're answering to an A+, highly talented, skilled person. They don't think they're answering to a not so talented, skilled person. So when they answer the door for you and you present yourselves, both of you are at the top of your game, right? So these people answering the door are answering the door to the people at the top of their game. They're not necessarily going to honor people that aren't at the top of their game. So even if you're to go knock on that door, remember, guys and gals, you have to have great demo material. You have to have a well-done public presence. You have to know how to dress the dress, act the part, be able to be there when they need to be there. It's their job, it's not yours. So when they answer the door for these two guys, after 100 knocks and they get 2 answers, that person, they're answering the door to the best. So you've got to be that best still, So when I asked about the motivation, sometimes people are a little scared to be motivated because they know they're not ready. You know what I mean? Like you said.
Well, just be engaging, like, because we're not even, like, we like our work, but we can still get better. Our stuff's not amazing. So like, it's also about, I know it's just a lot about you. Like you're engaging. Like, you, like, I talk, I can be social, but you can be super social, and that can get you into like opportunities. And like really, I mean, it doesn't really even have to necessarily come from a certain hunger. Yeah. Or like, even if your like stuff's not even like all great, like it's, because like there are people whose stuff is really great, but it's not just like about great film work, or there's like in my opinion, like a combination of things, just being open and social and positive, really positive.
I was gonna say too, just to piggyback off what you were saying, there have been times that we have been knocking and people did answer the door and we weren't ready, but just even like when that happens, even being ready to even attack it, even if you're not ready, because then it'll show you when you mess up, because you're gonna mess up. Mistakes are very good. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a positive thing.
You learn from those.
Yeah, you learn from your mistakes. You know what I mean? Then you go to know how much you need to work on something, how much you need to grow, and hopefully you didn't burn that bridge with that person. But if you didn't, then they'll help you get where you need to be too. You know what I mean? So like it's just all about just being ready. Like, even if you don't even feel like you're ready. There's a lot of people in sports that you will never know that they weren't ready for that game, but they end up getting like all these crazy points and, getting all this highlight on what they did. And if you talk to them right before that, they would tell you, I wasn't confident, I wasn't ready for this, the opportunity came, the door opened, my head was down. But I delivered because I knew I needed to. And I mean, I was weak, but I gave my best. And now I guess some highlight of the week and blah, 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 but because they were ready even though they weren't ready. So that's so important, what I mean? Just keep, evolving and teaching yourself things, and like listen to conversation. One thing Goodman told me that was really cool, like if you want to make a script or something, listen to people outside, like listen to their conversations and stuff, and you're getting relatable information straight from the mouth of the audience. So it's like gold, you know what I mean? So if you take that same concept and kind of like just listen to your surroundings, that will help you out big time, tremendously, in building yourself in the industry, because now you're kind of hearing what people want. It's like a survey in a sense, you know what I mean? So, I don't like this, okay. I don't like this. Now you might hear 5 people say the same thing. You're like, all right, well, let me put that down. oh, I like this. Yeah, I like the ice cream. I like to go out with my son. Bow, okay, boom. And now you're building your like own little script and stuff, and now you're presenting your video, and everybody loves it. And you know why everybody loves it? Because you took the time out to see what the people wanted. You know what I mean? So like just having that diligency of like listening and paying attention to detail. Like, you know, I say that to my friends all the time. I'm like, yo, just pay attention to the little stuff because that's so big. Like, yeah, it might not look big in the big scale of things, but it will alter stuff if you take that one little thing out. You know, so.
I'd like to, if we could, just have each one of you like briefly describe who you are, what you'd like to do, and then any questions you have in general about anything, as far as like preparing to graduate or like looking or achieving work.
Yeah, because these guys have a unique story, each of them.
Yeah.
Guys and ladies, in sexes.
Yeah, so
Introduce yourself first, and we'll get done introducing your name and like the department you're in, and like when you're graduating, and then we can go back, right? Because you can get hung up on one person. So why don't we start with Gene? Gene.
How'd you turn yourself? I'm sorry.
My name is Gene Brister, adult student, as you can tell. Graduating, well, not this quarter, because I have to do prep over again.
Sorry.
But
Keep going.
DFVP, of course. I really wanted to do digital media production. That's what I started in 2005, so I had to come back. I actually since 2005, been teaching elementary and middle school how to do digital media.
Oh, okay.
I have to continue teaching. I have to get my bachelor's, so that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's what I really want to get into. I don't want to get into production work, even though I have fun doing it.
That's good, yeah.
I want to
That's
actually
cool.
like start the next generation.
Yeah, that's big.
Kindle the fire.
That is big. That's more important than I feel like actual production, because that's the next generation coming up, and if they're not prepared, then like what do we have? You know what I mean?
yeah, like Craig said recently, that generation are going to be our, we're going to be working with them in the same industry, so we want to benefit in all factors of it. Whether it's, whether those kids end up being competition or business partners together. It's like regardless, like we're all working in the same industry, so you got to set that like standard of like good work and building the economy.
Now this is my biggest problem and my biggest question. Being a DFVP student has limited me because my portfolio to actually teach digital media should include a little bit of everything. And having to basically kind of conform with what the school wants, I'm not able to actually do a portfolio for what I want to get into. It's basically just video. So that's where I'm having my conflict when it comes down to even finishing prep or.
I would say this is my biggest thing. I was like in your same situation too, and this is what I learned in different jobs. Just get the job done at hand. What is asked of you, because once you get that done, then it's no longer a burden anymore. You can just let it go, and then
God, wait a minute, Troy, wait a minute. Excuse me. Was that word? Was that sentence coming out of my mouth? Did I hear myself say that?
Sometimes it's good to hear from a new face.
It's like the video's like, hold up, there it goes.
There it goes again, Gene.
Yeah, but it's that's the confliction. That's what I was telling you. That's the confliction. It's like, I don't want to do this because that's not what I'm going for. But if you go into a job and they're paying you, and like even in this, like let's say they tell you, you know what, take the kids out today and do some DFVP. Matter of fact, we saw that thing that you did in school. Even though you're done with it, we love that. We want more of that. Now you got to tap back into that, right? And now, at least you got some knowledge on it now. You know what I mean? And now you're using that as another format for different things. So this could create a lot of stuff for not just you, but the kids too. For you opening up to this opportunity now to just get this done.
I have one small question.
Yeah.
Understanding finishing the DFVP portfolio and getting that done.
Yeah.
How would you suggest I include my kids' work to actually show what I've done, to show I'm an educator, not just a production person? Because that's my problem right now. Having a production reel is great, but a lot of people keep shooting down because I'm working with elementary kids that are using flip phones. Or if not flip phones, but flip cams. So they're not going to be the best quality, but they're kids doing all this video work that I need to show that I've taught them how to do it. You know what I mean? So how can I incorporate that into
So like, I think I might be answering this the wrong way for what you need, but if you're the one teaching, I mean, I was going to suggest creating like a documentary or like nonprofit based type video, like whether it's setting up a camera like this in the classroom or a GoPro or even, I mean, I'm not sure if that's exactly kind of to answer it, but also you could, take some of the video that they're creating from their phones and put that into that. Like, you put it on the screen, like a background image or like text and flip from that. I think that's what I'm saying. And then maybe narrate it and say, this is like what I've been doing this long, and this is what I'm aiming to do. Also, I just want to ask, is this like, when you say digital media, do you mean like you're also in charge of like graphic design, motion graphics?
I'm teaching everything.
So,
digital media, sound design, small 2D animation, and video.
Do you incorporate like any of like motion graphics or like Illustrator designs in any video work?
Like, all right, when we're finished, I can show you some of the things that I have from the kids.
Okay.
Just to show you what I'm talking about. Because I've worked with kindergartners where I've shown them how to hold and point the camera and basically do their own little exercise videos with other kids being talent. I've done CSI stuff, like them writing their own scripts to do a little CSI, and that was 4th and 5th graders doing camera work and acting.
See, that's good.
You know what I mean? My ending is I edit all of them and basically show them as showcases for those kids. How can I get those to be shown from my work?
I was going to also say,
When these guys are finished, Gene,
that's what I'm saying.
for the purposes of even today, when these guys are finished, Gene, give me your opinions. I've got some ideas that may help you too.
and I want to say this real quick though, just so I tell everybody that I bump into, even my students and stuff too, there's no limit on creativity. So lift that off yourself already. Free yourself from, this is what I have. Like, start with a fresh, clean slate. You have all these kids' videos, and now you have an opportunity to create a concept for them. Now, when I go and like create different things for different companies and stuff, I like to watch a lot of TV and different things as far as like ideas. And if you actually pay attention, everything has a concept to it. So if you can take different concepts from what you might like, and then bring it down to the kids, and then have them, you direct them into what you're visually seeing, and then kind of multi together. So like, let's say you got the kindergartners with the cameras, that they're going to be kind of all over the place and stuff. So that's going to be like the guerrilla style footage, you know what I mean? So you can have a segment of like the kids going rampant with that, you know what I mean? Then going into like the CSI kind of feel, you know what I mean? But also having this like documentary.
Yeah, I was going to say like, I've thought about doing this in the future. I had to do it for like a video, is a video interview application recently, but like, don't be afraid to create your own style of demo reel. Like, you can literally film yourself sitting in a chair, introducing yourself so they can see your face if you like, because you're going for the teaching route. Like, that's personable. Then from there you can push in clips while you're narrating in the background what you like teach and whatnot, and what you like, what your students create. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's
I really think that's like if I was gonna go straight to be a teacher, like that was probably an idea I would roll with.
Okay.
It's all about the concept. You know what I mean? And
like kind of teach. Try like it'd be cool.
Like Mr. Goodman shoots my ideas down.
Yeah, and that's what you get conflicted with, because you're like, I want to do this, but I don't know if this is right and if I should do it. But be hard on yourself and try to do things right, but also don't let it harp on you to the point that you can't create.
See, Gene, just to kind of gain control because of the time constraints today, let me give you a capsule, and I think these guys will agree. Remember something about school. It is a hoop you have to jump, okay? I tell this to my kids. They don't want to listen to me on my own shoulder, my own blood. Just jump the hoop. If the teacher says jump, you just jump. They say jump 3 times, jump 3 times. Get it over with, move on. And what you do outside of school, nobody has control over. I will never know what kind of media you created outside of school. So these suggestions were very good. I believe these 2 young men have good ideas, and they're fine. But please, and I'm actually saying it sincerely, don't let me or Sean or Rob Goodman or anybody on earth ever derail or stop you from your dream, whatever the heck it is. So if you want to make a 7-minute video that introduces you, you talk about yourself, you interview the students that you've worked with, and then you show their videos in the background on a chroma key or in a window, and then you play them full screen for 10 seconds and go back and just create a video that displays you, because inevitably you want that to manifest on YouTube, and you can send that hyperlink out to all the schools and regions and say, this is who I am.
And that's your style too. That's what you want to
Do
be
you
true
think
to
that
your
idea can
style.
work for her, guys?
Do you think?
Do you think-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and it fulfills actually the requirements of portfolio, believe it or not. How would you like that?
That'd be nice.
Wouldn't that be a nice idea? See?
So, man, what's your name?
Oh, I graduated. Yeah,
Oh, you
I'm
did?
just, yeah, I'm just coming.
Yes, but your inquiry is important. Rory, please.
Who are you? Who are you? And what are you doing now?
Like a month ago we graduated. So
Yeah, your question is different from everybody
That's
else.
awesome that you're actually back in here. A lot of people have to be back here for a moment.
What's up? Yeah,
A lot of people are like, a lot of
yeah.
people are too like afraid or don't think they should like walk back in after graduating or feel embarrassed or whatever it is. But it's cool that you're actually here. So what's up?
Yeah, I actually work here at the school in the Media Resource Center.
Oh, word. Nice.
And I'm getting into cinematography, but I'm open to everything.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So, whether it's weddings, music videos, corporate work, whatever. Yeah.
Did you graduate in film?
Yeah.
Okay.
When did you graduate?
That's cool.
That's right. All right, nice. Yeah, all right.
And there was a cavity right there with the cage operator. The cage had changed. The cage manager left, and Rory had stepped up at that moment, and he was like, "Well, if you need somebody," and we were like, "We need somebody," and he
Oh,
became.
so you the Cage Connect?
He became the cage
Oh, okay. All right.
Within, so he left school and he came right back. Right back in.
Indeed.
But he's very good. So.
Well, that's good. That's kind of what I was saying as far as like getting something right away when you get out. Like, I was stubborn. I should have gotten like a part-time, but I was like doing freelance, and I ended up realizing that it's like not consistent as it should be. So, but that's good to definitely be doing that while, you know, learning and getting better at cinematography and like exploring other like opportunities.
Major. And I'm in my second last quarter, so I'm graduating next quarter, hopefully. So my question for you guys is, I know you guys mentioned having that sense of urgency and also being engaging, but kind of coming out, you know, as us here, for most of us, you're kind of in school like your entire life, and you just kind of almost get comfortable.
Yeah.
So kind of going out of that and going into the professional world when you're presenting yourself as a person who can do this, and that to a possible client or company, how do you, is there more than just kind of turning off that switch of not being a student and becoming professional? What kind of tips would you guys maybe recommend doing? You know, I understand, you know, there's dressing professionally, being able to present yourself a certain way, but is it kind of just more trial and error, just kind of learning like that?
I would say, well, first, I was just thinking about this, and it's funny that you say this, turning on and off the switch. See, your intuition is very, very key. Because I know when I was in school and then I went into my first job, I knew like already in that moment I didn't want to be there for a long time, but I knew I needed to be there enough for me to learn. So it was like, all right, let me just go into this thing and present myself well and do the things that I had to do. And then once I felt like I got the knowledge that I needed, I moved on. Now I was conflicted. See, what happens is you have the same feeling that you have here in school when you go into the job. It's a continual thing because it's the comfortability factor. You're like, I'm here, I finally made it, you know, what have you. And then you kind of like know that you want more and you need to gain more. So you are kind of conflicted with like, when should I go and how's this gonna affect my family and like who's gonna agree with me, and I know this is best for me, but like I know people aren't gonna agree with this because you're kind of feeling something, but it doesn't go with your vision. Going back to your original question, just how we kind of like go through that is, you know, just taking each day, you know, by day, you know, and really setting goals. You know, goals are really big on that day. As you keep going, you're going to see yourself through the trial and error. Like it's not like it's something that's just going to happen, or it's not like you're looking for it, but it's just going to kind of naturally just happen as you're growing, you know. And it's like it's kind of hard to kind of speak because it's something that you kind of go through, and it kind of is like a pressing thing for you. So when it's done pressing, you kind of grow from that press, you know. So it's like, you know, it's all in your mindset, man, for real, on how you're going about your situation and stuff, and that's going to pretty much alter how everything's going to be for your career. You know, I know me and Jason took each day by day, even though we had a lot of stuff. Like, we wanted to shoot movies when we were doing the photography job. And we were talking about movies. We were even talking about movies with the employees.
Like,
you know?
like based off of the situation. I think, so in my opinion, there's no switch. You just adapt and kind of, you know, and as far as like the term student, I think it's safe and it makes sense for everybody to always assume themselves as a student, like all aspects of life, like for the career-wise, always be willing to learn. Like, we're still learning, and we also really want to learn. Like, we don't know everything. Like, we, you know, more than when we graduated and we're more experienced, but there's still like, I feel like we're still so like way so much more that's out there. But like, so whether that's like a student just willing to learn more in the industry, which is always going to keep changing, and whether it's just like with relationships or like, you know, friends or significant others, like you should always just be a student with everything. And there's no switch, in my opinion, necessarily. Like, you should definitely try to be more disciplined, more professional earlier, you know. But in my opinion, it also becomes a little bit easier and you become a little freer. Because I mean, depending on like what you're doing here, there's like so much going on here. If you're taking 4 or 5 classes, it can be like extremely overwhelming. And me even just saying, go out and like film something extra, like after the quarter, like the reason I might not have done that is because it's just like so exhausting. And like there's, like, you not only have these classes, but you have like the other, the psychology or whatever type of classes that I think are still
General
important.
education.
The Gen Ed classes I think are still important because they help, you know, definitely develop your mind. But like, just remembering like those projects and then these ones overlap, and it's like, you know, you need time to breathe. But I think like once you get out of here, I feel a lot freer as far as like, even if I'm busy, like at a job, just like, I don't know, it feels a little bit. I think you're gonna be fine, you know, as long as you take it seriously and you try. Like, you're definitely gonna make it. But
I mean, keep doing what you're doing, man. Like, people notice that type of stuff. Like, what I learned too, it's funny. I met this girl that I was working with, and I don't know. We always talked about energy every time we came around each other since like day one. And I don't know. She came up to me one time right before we did the Pennsylvania lottery, and she was just standing there or something like this, or whatever. And I was like, "Yo, why are you standing like that?" And she was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, I'm noticing you standing there. She's like, exactly. She's like, you gotta teach yourself how to do the power pose. And I was like, power pose? What's that? She was like, when you go out in front of people, like having your chest out and just walking with confidence all the time, and like, you know, just like owning it. You know, and I was like, oh, you're on some other stuff right now, huh? And she's like, yeah, you gotta get on the power pose. So I started like kind of doing it too, walking around and stuff. And it's funny because people were like engaging us and stuff, and like she's looking over at me like, see, I told you, and I'm like, well, you doing some magic right now. What is this? Like, so like doing that kind of reminded me of like a power pose, like standing when you speak. You know, people notice that. You know, you know, shaking someone's hand and looking them straight in the eye.
My opinion for anyone is to be like well-rounded and stay balanced in like all aspects of life. Like I'm saying, like there's always the attitude of work. You know, work all night, all morning long, which can be good sometimes. But it's also good to spend necessary time doing things for yourself and also by yourself. You learn so much when you do stuff by yourself, whether it's traveling alone or like, you know, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations sometimes, taking a risk, like I was saying. Like when I first got out of school, like one of the first opportunities I had was I was going on tour to film for this like viral video sensation. It was I'm Smacked.
Yeah.
So I didn't meet any of these kids personally until I connected with one on Facebook, and he was like, yeah, you could be a videographer. So he flew me out to Nashville. I didn't really meet any of them for the first 2 days. I was just there in Nashville with someone else who was supposed to be there. But like I put myself in that position, and I ended up like getting like sense like euphoria. Like I just came back here and I was like so motivated. I was different, and like that type of like you know, I'm basically relating this back to, you know, keeping a balance of everything in life, because that'll help you no matter what you want to do. Even if you want to like get out of here with a video degree and work, like, you know, just the Comcast call center, anything like that. Just, I mean, I just think it's important for everybody to try to, you know, stay well-rounded and spend necessary time doing things outside of just work, because that'll definitely help benefit career moves, in my opinion.
Okay, last couple of thoughts regarding yours, because we want to move on, and you guys do have some sort of time constraint today, and it's 2:39.
Yeah.
And I want to clarify so you have a chance to talk to everyone else. And this is just a thought. The Artist to Philadelphia is kind of like that big blue building. That's the big blue robin's shell. And we make a joke sometimes that our building, in many ways, thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Nick. That shell of the Art Institute sometimes creates that environment where people do finish school, they get out, they really just don't know what they just got out of. They're like, it's been so hard for 3 or 4 years of their life. They get out, they kind of go right out, they go to bed, they crawl up in a fetal position, and it's 9 months later, you know, and then all of a sudden, and they've been off the radar for poor Sean. He's calling them, I gotta get you help me find a job, where are you at? So we don't want you to spill out of the front doors, slide right to your house, run up to your bedroom, shut the door, and be like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, you have to admit the fact that tomorrow is going to be a new day. I mean, if the asteroid hits or the moon cracks in half, you know, we have to adapt. These guys use that word over and over again. It's a perfect word. You have to adapt, and you have to acknowledge, you being the student, you have to acknowledge that you are graduating from college, and once you graduate, you have to survive. And you have to make it happen.
It's scary. It is scary, but it's also fun too.
But it's a deal you got yourself into.
Yeah.
So you know it's coming, right? So, you know, put the mask on, get the Kevlar suit on, and get ready, because you're going to graduate, you know? And you're going to be a success, right? So don't worry about that issue. Just get ready for the inevitable, which is surviving in that environment, surviving and thriving. And they're good at what they do, and you're good at what you do. And because those elements are there, you know, if you listen to all their advice, you know, and review this video when it's done, right? It will help you in your level of success. Don't be scared.
Expect the unexpected.
Exactly.
It's like next one.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, your turn.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Robin. I'm in DFPP. Graduate next quarter, hopefully.
Yeah, you will. You will.
Career-wise, like Rory, I'm open to all video work. I enjoy being on the field, you know, getting dirty into it. I wouldn't mind doing post either. Anything, just a good experience. Goal-wise, I mean, I do want a stable job, like work for a production company, but and hopefully do freelance stuff on the side, contractual work. I think one of my weaknesses, so like I'm really focused on the creative side, but for me, I'm kind of weak on the business side, the aspect of like how to present myself to clients, how to like really figure out like budgets. And
That's a whole other game.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's one of my biggest weaknesses. You guys have any tips, or I know you guys touched.
The main tip is just like get out there and try it, and like just get experience, and like then you're gonna fail. You don't want to fail, but it will happen eventually in different aspects. You know, in
Kind of
certain
needed
ways.
to happen.
When I say fail, I don't mean like fail. I mean like things won't go right sometimes. But like same thing. Like I kind of wish they would put that aspect in like every program at this school. You know, like the whole, like, not saying they don't at all, but like
Just everywhere,
there's
for
a
real,
lot.
everywhere.
There's a lot. Even like, you know, like, so basically the answer is to go out and try, because that's how you learn. That's how like we, you know, we're still, that's the one of the, there's still a weakness for us, like business.
Yeah, I'm
We're
about to
still
say,
growing
'cause
at
I'm still in the stages of like trying to figure this whole business thing out, because I'm right where you're at. You know what I mean? I'm just like doing the creative side and also handling the business and like going to different. I'm surrounded. You know what I'm doing? I'm surrounding myself with people that do this. You know, that's how I'm being able to grasp all this stuff, because they're telling me some inside stuff. I'm like, whoa, I never would have known that if I was never around you. Right. You know what I mean? So surrounding yourself with people that do it too. Also, don't be scared to have people help you or even do it for you. You know what I mean? Because there are experts in that type of thing. And let's say you have a friend that's in business, you might start a business together now. Like, you know, like me and Jay are like doing, we don't have a business together, but we feed off each other. You know, get him to do the business, you do the creative stuff. You know, whatever works for you. You know what I mean? Like like I told her, there's no limit to creativity. Creativity is in everything. There's a concept for everything in every single thing. And if you look at everything as like, how can I be creative? Then you'll move to this earth like Michael Jackson, for real. Like, and I'm starting to see how he started to do it because the way his mind was, you know, and how open he was to different things and how he went to people that knew stuff and he was weak on certain things. It was to the point that you didn't even know he had any weaknesses because he surrounded himself with so many people that knew how to do great things. He was great. You know what I mean? So it's like...
Yeah, one thing I think is tough, like, which isn't really ever talked about much, or maybe realized sometimes, is like the fact that like we're all in this like video program here at the school. The majority of your day, you're surrounded by like other videographers, you know? So even though like those are my friends still, I try to, you know, surround myself by like a designer or someone in audio. And then like, well, in this case, some business. Like if you can like, you know, if you already know somebody, like, I don't know, you can pick up like a lot of things and learn from people who are, you know, in different career fields. Also, like, do your own, like, do research, like, find a way to like enjoy like looking into getting better at business. And like, I kind of consider business into like marketing and advertising, which are really big right now as well, especially with social media.
Is his own
so like,
thing.
well, you may already do this, but like I've always kind of done this, but like, you know, I'm sure everyone in this room researches on YouTube and watches things. Like I find myself watching like different keynote speakers, whether it's a TED Talks type event,
Right.
a different type of like maybe someone who's talking about like, you know, consciousness.
Yeah,
someone
feed
who's
yourself,
like, you know,
feed.
if you know Gary Vaynerchuk, is someone similar to him. Like he's good sometimes. There's tons of information and podcasts that will really like help grow you, which I like. I listen to a lot of that stuff.
You sent me a lot of stuff too.
Yeah,
I'll be on Facebook or something or my email. You gotta read this or you gotta look at this.
Articles.
Like,
you know, just
what I mean?
like when I was getting out of school, like I used to read Elite Dailies articles. There's this upcoming like New York company. I actually wanted to work for them for a while, but like they had a lot of, you know, it's based for millennials and the struggles, whether it's like with social situations or even like career-wise. So like I remember printing those articles out. Because they make it simple to read. Like it's like it's like boom, 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 like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 10, like listing like different quotes or like you know, things. I used to print those out and like put them around my house, like read them occasionally. Just really the business answer. There's no like right business answer. You just gotta go out and learn it. So like I'm pretty sure you're in the same boat as like every other creative in college right now. You know, from what I know, like that's really its own aspect as it is, just to try to get better at that. It's really tough, but yeah, that's you know what I would say. As far as like doing work, so if I were you, I would contact like every production company coming out of here, and not like, you know, because a lot of them have like their full-time employees, but they all take contractors. You know, I could have done more of this to be better as well, but like just at least let them know that you like call them, say, hey, can I send you, or email them and say send them your information and your work, and like to, you know, keep you in mind for freelance opportunities, because like all it can take is just one of those opportunities, and then you can be doing more consistent stuff with that company. Like I'm pretty sure like all the production companies around here have like freelancers and even like ad agencies.
Yeah,
So,
the city's
like,
filled with wonders.
And like that can also like get you into what you're saying, like the field work, and seems like you're pretty open to an extent. And also, you know, different websites. You know, film.org has a lot of like film-based projects.
Yeah.
The new Mandy, what is it? filmandtvpro.com. That one.
Indeed.com.
There's one of the kids I was working with on the feature film set. He got the opportunity through filmandtv.org. You know, so like those come and go. I think that might cost money, but you know, you'll find stuff for sure. And
LinkedIn too. Sean's really big on that. He put us all on the LinkedIn. You know, but that's key. If you want to like with us working with Wise Guy, we actually have this event called Holidays every December. And this year, we were able to get in contact with Viceland. And we were able to get in contact with them through LinkedIn, you know, and getting straight to where we need to go to creative director, you know, and then that spiraled up everything, got everything stirred up, and then we hit somebody else in the company, you know, and then boom, now we're hitting different sides. It's like chess, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, use your social media to your advantage. You know, like Instagram's a really big money maker. I can now say I'm successfully making money off of Instagram. You know what I mean? Because I'm connecting with different people. Like we're connecting now, talking. You know, things like that.
Yeah, I put my Instagram link on my new resume.
Dude, that's smart. I don't even do that. I need to do that.
You know, it can be good. It can be bad depending on how you like represent it.
yourself, yeah.
I'm like kind of. I don't have, in my opinion, nothing too bad. That's like, it's just really, if anything, of me being social, which I think kind of shows who I am a little bit. So, you know, it's also like it's a good way to have a portfolio because now you can view Instagram on the computer. So that direct link, like they can click that, or if you email that out, I put that with my website, and like it's, in my opinion, it's like really great for business, and it can kind of get the point across as to who you are. What you could do, or what you do, or what you do as far as like in the production field. But yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem.
What's everything?
I gotta get back to the
Sean,
shop.
good seeing you.
Man. Proud of you guys, man.
We're
Always.
gonna be talking.
Oh, definitely. Thank you, sir.
What's important?
We got one word on the back.
What's important and interesting is that everything you guys said, I've said all week 1, 2, 3, 4, and today's week 5. So they've heard.
He just brought you in to confirm it.
He's like, see, I told you.
Just so we're having the same conversation.
Definitely good to have it like come from a new face sometimes, because there are people in our lives that it's like they may say something, but like it's I don't know, sometimes the advice doesn't really hit you unless someone else says the same thing.
Yeah.
So
When somebody who's a graduate that had to struggle through the same struggles you guys are struggling through, you know, it does bring it home. And I'm appreciative of these guys, of course. I hope we answered your
No,
questions.
we got one more.
Me? I know.
Thank you guys for
Yeah.
coming. 'Cause
Hey.
I was like super nervous, but everything you guys said, it really makes me feel better, and
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in, you know, the right position.
Yeah.
But like I do have a question, but I'll just like tell a little bit myself. Okay, well I'll just like ask the question. When you guys said, like, I guess my question is, how did you advertise yourself in your portfolio? And I know you said like you became an audio engineer, you know, like it's a lot of tailoring, to that company and stuff. But like, what was on your resume? Like, I mean, what was on your business card? Like,
All right, so.
like what was on your business card before, and what is it like now?
if you're talking about like as far as like the title, I
Yeah.
chose video editor because I actually I remember there were a lot of, that's honestly still gray in my opinion. It's a gray area of right or wrong, or how you should, and it really doesn't, it mattered, every job would be different. So I remember like Goodman was really big on pick a title. So like I've just picked video editor because that's how I was always
You're
did my
all
main thing.
really big on
So I was just had video editor on everything, even though I can do more than that. Since then, occasionally people are like, oh, like, so you do this, but like, do you do that? And I'm like, yeah, of course I do that. Like, you know, then that can go into multiple things. So there's like video editor, cinematographer, director, producer, and then there's also like, you know, I'm relating that to the fact that there's different types of videos. You know, if you just say I do music videos in weddings, which I do, those are the main two things I do. People might not realize that I can make advertisements, commercial advertisements for products, or real estate videos, which I've done all of those things. But like, so I'd say while you're in school here, not that it's the wrong answer, but definitely pick one of those titles. Don't even worry too much about it. And if you want to create multiple resumes with a different title on, I'm pretty sure Sean that says make multiple resumes for different types of like position for like different types of job titles, and even has told him recently to make a film resume, then a TV production resume. Me personally, right now, I just like kind of just use one resume, and I don't have. I changed mine right now. It's currently multiple titles, the new one I have made, and I think that's important because, you know, people might. It's good to hone in on like to have one focus sometimes, but also, you know, if it's something that you know you can do, and if your thing says video editor like mine did, but if it's for straight cinematography, when I do like both equally, you know, I actually, you know, kind of enjoy doing cinematography more now because that's something I need to get better at. You know, I think it's good to have multiple titles on personally, but like I'm saying, to definitely pick one for now, and you know, maybe like create a, like when I say a new resume, just change the resume and change the title aspect of it. Business card wise, I wouldn't get too crazy. So like, you know, maybe pick 2 or 3, like cinematographer, video editor. Some people just put videographer, which kind of sums it up. It's a little vague, but like, you know, it's it makes sense. You know, no one even really says filmmaker, but like that is technically a term that is used.
I was gonna
but yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna piggyback on that too, because I'm gonna just tell you how I got in the game for real. So I remember asking Sean, I said, Sean, I'm having trouble getting jobs and stuff because of my resume.